The snow fell in delicate flurries, blanketing the world outside in a soft, glowing white. The crackling of the fireplace filled the room with warmth as the smell of cinnamon and mulled wine drifted through the air. Eva stood by the window, gazing out at the snowy landscape with a dreamy smile on her face. She'd always loved the holidays, but this one felt different, special somehow. Behind her, Ryan fiddled with the lights on the tree, muttering under his breath as he tried to untangle the mess of wires. "How is it that these things always end up in knots, no matter how neatly I put them away?" he grumbled, glancing over his shoulder at her with an exasperated grin. Eva turned to him, her laughter bubbling up like champagne. "Because you don't know how to properly store them. That's why." "Hey," he said, raising an eyebrow. "I'm a lot of things. An amazing cook, a decent dancer, and possibly the best gift wrapper you've ever met. But a light organizer? That's asking too much." She crossed the room, her slippered feet barely making a sound on the hardwood floor, and gently took the tangled mess from his hands. "Let me handle this, Mr. Best Gift Wrapper. You focus on something else, like not setting the tree on fire this year." Ryan feigned offense, holding his hand to his chest. "That happened one time, and the fire was barely noticeable." Eva shook her head, laughing as she worked through the knot of lights, the glow of the fireplace reflecting in her dark eyes. It was moments like this that made her heart feel full. Being with Ryan was like being wrapped in her favorite blanket on a cold winter's night. Comforting, warm, and perfect. Later that evening, the house was filled with the sound of laughter and music as friends began to trickle in. Eva and Ryan hosted a holiday party every year, and it had become a tradition among their closest friends. The living room was glowing with twinkling lights and candles, the Christmas tree standing tall in the corner, adorned with ornaments they'd collected over the years. The table was set with plates of cookies, a gingerbread house they'd half destroyed in a fit of competitive decorating, and bowls of punch spiked with just the right amount of holiday cheer. Eva was in the kitchen, balancing a tray of hors d'oeuvres when her best friend Clara burst through the door, bundled in a coat and scarf, her cheeks pink from the cold. "Eva, it smells amazing in here," Clara said, shrugging off her coat and tossing it over a chair. "Where's Ryan?" "Probably in the den, trying to convince Ben he knows how to mix cocktails," Eva replied, rolling her eyes playfully. As if on cue, Ryan appeared, holding 2 glasses filled with a ruby-red concoction. And voila! 2 holiday margaritas, perfected by yours truly. "Should I be worried?" Eva asked, narrowing her eyes at him. Ryan handed her a glass with a mock-serious expression. "You should be impressed," he said, leaning in close enough that his breath tickled her ear. "But if it's terrible, just pretend it's great. My ego depends on it." She took a sip, and to her surprise, it was delicious. Sweet, tangy, and just the right amount of kick. "Okay, you might actually be good at this," she admitted with a grin. "Finally, some recognition," Ryan said, throwing his arms up in triumph. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to crush Ben in a game of charades." The night wore on, filled with laughter and the sound of old holiday songs playing in the background. Friends crowded around the living room, some singing off-key carols, while others tried their hand at a game of trivia. Eva found herself leaning against the doorframe, watching it all unfold with a deep sense of gratitude. Ryan appeared beside her, slipping an arm around her waist. "What are you doing over here, hiding?" "Just soaking it all in," she said, resting her head on his shoulder. "I love this time of year. I love this." She gestured to the room, to their friends, to the tree glowing in the corner. Ryan's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining. "I love it too," he said softly. "But you know what I love most?" She looked up at him, her cheeks warming despite the cool draft from the window. "What? You," he said simply, his voice so sincere it made her heart skip a beat. "I know we're always running around, working, planning, dealing with life. But nights like this, when it's just us and the people we care about most, I realize how lucky I am to have you." Eva felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked them away quickly, not wanting to get too emotional in the middle of a party. Instead, she smiled and reached up to kiss him, her lips brushing his softly. "I'm the lucky one," she whispered. "Okay, enough mushy stuff," Ryan said, grinning as he pulled back. "We've got a game of charades to dominate. You ready?" "Always," she said, laughing as he grabbed her hand and led her into the fray. The night ended the way all the best nights do, with everyone gathered around, laughing and talking as the fire crackled and the snow fell softly outside. Clara had fallen asleep on the couch, a blanket pulled up to her chin, while Ben and a few others were still debating the rules of charades. Eva and Ryan sat by the tree, their hands intertwined as they shared a quiet moment. The house smelled of pine and cinnamon, and the faint strains of "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" played in the background. "I think this might be the best party we've ever thrown," Eva said, leaning her head on Ryan's shoulder. "That's because you're the best," Ryan replied, kissing the top of her head. She smiled, closing her eyes as the warmth of the moment settled over her. It wasn't the decorations, or the food, or even the perfectly mixed margaritas that made the night special. It was the love that filled the room, the love she felt every time Ryan looked at her, and the love they shared with the people who meant the most to them. And in that moment, as the snow continued to fall, and the world outside seemed to stand still, Eva felt completely and utterly happy.